Hello friends, hope you are doing great. In today's video, we are adding a new section to our Apex design pattern series, the strategy design pattern. So what is strategy design pattern in Apex? Strategy design pattern is a behavioral design pattern. Now, if you are curious to know that what is behavioral design pattern, then I already have a video of like different types of design pattern that we follow in Apex. So check out that video. I have provided the link in the description section. So now coming back to strategy design pattern, it's used when you want to define a family of algorithms or behavior, put each into its own class and make them interchangeable at runtime. Let me explain it with a simple example. Imagine you want to travel from one place to another. You have option like taxi, train or plane. Which one you choose depends on the distance. If it's suppose within 15 to 20 miles, you probably take a taxi. For 400 to 500 or more than that, but less than like 1000 mile, probably you will take a train. That makes more sense, right? But if you are traveling like 2000, 4000, 5000 mile, a plane is your best bet. So your choice depends on runtime criteria, that is distance in this case. So there is no fixed answer. It depends upon the distance, which one you will choose. Similarly, in the strategy design pattern, instead of writing lots of if else or switch statements, you dynamically decide which class or business logic to execute based on runtime data. Now, why use the strategy pattern in Apex? There are a couple of benefits like why we should use strategy design pattern. Number one, encapsulation. Move related logic into its own class. Second, ease of extension. Add new behaviors without changing existing code. This is the open closed principle. Third, cle- cleaner code. Avoid huge if else or switch blocks. Last but not the least, dynamic behavior. Choose the appropriate strategy at runtime. So those are the benefit of using strategy pattern. Now when to use it? When you have multiple ways to process record, like different validation or processing based on record type, unit or different configuration. When your logic is expected to change or grow over the time. Then use strategy design pattern. Now let's jump into the Apex code. I will show you how to implement the strategy pattern step by step, how the classes connected with each other, and even how to integrate it with a LWC component. At the end, I will also share a class diagram so you can easily visualize the architecture alongside the code demo. So let's get started. So I have already logged into my Salesforce org. So this is my Salesforce org. Now, at first, when you want to implement strategy design pattern, the first thing you need to create is an interface. So I have created an interface that is like strategy interface. I called it as an iPayment strategy and list down all the method that you are going to use in your different strategy. So this is one use case. Let me tell you the use case first, and then I will show you how I have designed it using strategy design pattern in Apex. So when we are like doing providing user some payment option, we generally provide them credit card option, debit card option, PayPal option, GPay option. There are different, right? Now the payment processing will be different for each of them. Credit card will have their credit limit and all those things. Debit card will be deducted directly from your checking or saving accounts. PayPal will be connected with your bank account or with your credit card, or PayPal has their own wallet kind of thing. That is also possible. GPay is something different, using some different methodology or processing or process. So that's why we want to keep based upon what user selected as an payment option, like whether they selected credit card, debit card, payment, PayPal. So depend upon that, our strategy, our authentication, our validation will be different, right? So this is a good use case of implementing payment strategy, because at the runtime, it will decide which one to choose. Okay, now let's come into the Apex part. So to do that one, first what I will do, I will create an interface, that is iPayment strategy. And in that payment strategy, I will note down all the method that will be common for each and every strategy. Like validate is common, like we want to validate certain things before we start processing the payment. And then payment process will be the same method that can be used, but the business logic will be different in each of that credit card, debit card, and PayPal, but the method will be same. So that is why we keep the method and the input parameter of the method in interface. Now, once that is done, then what we need to do? We need to create each class for each of the payment method. So for credit card, I have created a class which implement iPayment strategy. That is very much important. Whatever you are going to create a class, whenever you want to create a class, please use implement that particular interface. It will help you to remain consistent, and when your org grows, like different type of payment strategy came, or if you have different use case, like based upon record type, your logic will be different. So you want to create different classes based upon the record type, then it will keep the consistency. And also in the main class from where you are going to call all this payment strategy classes, that you no need to change. You will just add your business logic in a new class and you are good to go. So that's why please implement iPayment strategy in my case, and in your case, whatever the name of the interface, just implement that one. And then you have to write your own code logic for this two method. I have kept it very simple as of now. And yeah, so it's just like processing payment based on line of credit extended by the card issuer, and then I'm returning a success message that payment processed successfully using credit card. Same for the debit card payment strategy. I implemented that interface and I am returning payment process successfully using debit card. So yes, and then for the PayPal, I kept it simple, only implement that one, and I am returning that successful using PayPal. Now that is what we are doing in the strategy class that implements the strategy interface. Now there will be one more class that you need to create, we mainly called it as an context class. Will be the class that will interact with your front end or from where you initiate the process, and then it will interact with each and every class. So if you have not implemented your strategy pattern, then this is the class where you have written all your if else logic or switch statement. So this is the class that actually content all the logic when to call which one. Now, in our case, to make it dynamic, we no need to do the if else condition anymore. So what we'll do, rather I created a metadata for this one. Let me show you the metadata. Okay, let me navigate to the setup home page, and from here let me type metadata. Okay, so I created, this is my metadata that I have created, and it has a custom field called payment class name. If I go to the all the record, then you can see like payment strategy name is credit card, and this is the name of the class that I have created. If I go here and if I copy it and search it here, you will able to see the name matches. So like same like debit card, I mentioned the name, and PayPal I mentioned the name. So whenever you are planning to add one more payment strategy, suppose GPay, then you can just create one new record and you can provide the name of the class. Once you provide the name of the class, it is the job of the context class, in my case that is payment processor, to fetch that particular class based upon the user provided input, and then using the type dot for name, we are getting the, we are getting the class name from the payment strategy metadata, and then we are using this class name, and then we are typecast it into iPayment strategy. So once we get the iPayment strategy, why iPayment strategy? Because credit card payment is implementing the interface, so it can be easily typecast with the iPayment strategy. You no need to use credit card payment or debit card payment strategy, those type of hard coding. You no need to do that one. So once you get the payment strategy, so what we'll do, we'll call the validate and payment process method. So this is how you in the runtime, based upon what user has selected, it will runtime decide which strategy to choose. No need to use a if else condition, no need to use like switch block, everything, all the headache is gone. Later on, you introduce different type of payment strategy, you no need to touch this class. You just create a new class which will implement the interface, and you create one more record in this custom metadata, and you are good to go. You are all set. So that is how payment strategy design pattern works. Now let me show it in the front end. So in the front end, I just created a very simple LWC component. So this is my LWC component, which is I have combo box where I have different type of payment method. So this is my combo box and I have different type of payment method. So based upon whatever user selected in the backend, it will it will call that particular payment class, which is like this one. This is the context class, payment process dot call payment class. So payment process dot call payment class, it will call this one, and it is the responsibility of this class, based upon whatever payment method they have selected, it will redirect that one to that particular class. Suppose if they select credit card payment, then the this particular code will automatically, based on this all the logic that we have written, based upon that one, it will call that particular class validate method and pay process method. Now let's see it in the front end. So suppose I have selected credit card. So if I selected credit card, then it should go into the payment process and it should return me this success message that payment process successfully using credit card. Let's see that one, whether that is working or not. So let me select credit card and see payment process successfully using credit card. So let me now select PayPal. Let's see whether that particular um, logic is working fine or not. So I select PayPal. So see, now it changed to using PayPal. If I select debit card, payment process successfully using the debit card. So I have not, if you see my LWC component, I have not hard coded anything. Like I have not hard coded anything. So once I select this one, it will call on change handle change method. So in the handle change method, it will get the value uh, whatever we are selecting. Based upon that, if we are selecting credit card, then the value will be credit card. So it is setting that payment method and it is sending that payment method to call payment class, and we are getting the result. So in the runtime, everything is decided and the request is redirecting to the actual or expected class, and we are getting the response back. Nothing is hard coded, everything is decided at the runtime. So that is how you can implement strategy design patterns step by step. Just you need to understand the flow, that you need to create one interface. To visualize it better, let me show you the class diagram that I have created. So in this particular class diagram, so this is my user. Uh, the user will select something, and then based upon whatever they are selecting in LWC component or front end, it will navigate to the context. In my case, context is payment processor. Now, once payment processor get called, it will have one interface variable created, and all this credit card payment strategy, debit card payment strategy, all those class will implement this interface, so that when we get that variable interface, it will redirect the request in exact or expected classes. So if it is credit card, then it will redirect that request to credit card payment strategy. So when you are trying to implement strategy design pattern, create one interface, create one context, and different type of strategy class that you want to achieve. This is how strategy design pattern works in Salesforce. Hope you get an fair idea about how you can implement strategy design pattern, and when you implement strategy design pattern in your implementation. So that is all for today's session. See you soon in my next blog. Till then, if you are interested in any particular design pattern, please let me know. We'll try to create that video as well. So thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, please do like, share and subscribe. Signing off for today. Thank you.